In a lie.
All right, everybody, welcome up to the stage. Jenny, Alec, and then also we've now got Kenny Sun, correct? Who's the Circa Infinity developer. All right, round of applause.
Yeah. All right. Hi, everybody. This is Kenny,
Hello.
Jenny, and me. And I'm Alec. And as you might have guessed from the title slide, we're going to be talking about both Circa Infinity. The question marks I added in because I wasn't sure if Kenny was actually going to arrive, but he did, so we can get rid of those. And we're also going to talk about Beglitched. And the main reason we're sharing this panel is that we all know each other because we're all from New York, and we're also from New York University. Kenny and I recently graduated, and Jenny didn't.
Yeah, I still have 1 year left.
So she's been doing homework all week, and you guys should all make her feel bad for skipping school.
No.
Okay. Anyways, so the basic plan of action for how we were going to do this presentation is that first up, we were going to introduce our games separately. Then we were going to chat and take some questions about them, mostly from me, maybe from you guys too. I don't know. And if there's time left, because there probably will be, because it's really hard to fill an hour and a half of time, then I have a special lecture prepared that you guys might enjoy. We can create a little sing-along, musical composition, fun time. Anyways, our initial plan was that Kenny was going to go first and tell us a little bit about Circa Infinity, and I was going to grill him in my first ever gig as panel moderator. So
Right now?
Yeah, right now.
You want me to connect?
Oh, should we?
No, you don't get any. No, yeah. Of course, we're going to connect your computer. Here. Do you need sound?
Yeah, probably.
Whoa. Ah. Okay.
Is there sound?
Try, are you on Windows? No, you're not. Yeah, you got sound. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Well, I was just gonna do a speed run on my game.
Wait, full screen it.
I want to full screen it.
Yeah, as lovely as your desktop background is. Full screen
All right. So here you go.
Yeah, I would definitely go for a speed run. I'm going to be grilling you while you're doing this, so be prepared for questions. So Circa Infinity, this is a pretty cool game that's been getting a lot of attention recently. I believe it's available.
Yeah, it's out.
Is that correct?
It's on Steam.
It's on Steam. How would I find it on Steam?
You search Circa Infinity on Steam, and it'll be there.
Oh, great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. So my next question is, how did you come up with this game? What were the origins? Where did you start with this?
Okay. I made this game. I first made a prototype of this in a Ludum Dare in December. It's hard to play.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I figured. I'm trying to make you mess up here.
Yeah, so that was like in December, so I think I liked how it turned out, and I was like, all right, I'll just make a free mobile version of the game. And I worked on it for a few months, and I brought it to NYU, and people were like, oh, maybe you should put it on Steam. And I was like, okay, put it on Steam. And yep, here we are.
I mean, so that sounds like, a nice, truncated, abridged version of events.
Alec, the Twitch stream has requested that you get closer to your microphone.
That sounds like a nice, abridged version of events.
Yeah.
There we
It's a
go.
lot better.
Yeah. But let me probe into that further. So this was originally a Ludum Dare game.
Yes.
What was the theme?
Entire game on one screen.
Okay, did you accomplish that? Is like the rest of the game still in the background, or are you deleting it?
No, it's gone. Every level it resets.
Wait, so it's not all on one screen?
Well, the original one was an infinite runner, so it was.
Okay.
But now it isn't.
All right. So you've really not stayed true to yourself in the development of this game at all.
Sure.
But would you say that that's a good thing in the end? You feel good about where it is right now?
Yeah, I wanted to like play around with like the space, and the only way to do that what's like handcraft levels.
Oh.
Yeah, and then it became kind of like puzzles because that's what I found interesting about this kind of gameplay.
Yeah, that's something that I've definitely noticed about this game is that the level design feels very considered and very interesting, and it
thanks.
progresses in a really cool way. So I don't know if you have any comments about how you, like, what's your process for going through and making levels?
So I usually just think of them and I draw them down in paper, and then I put them in the game.
Was your paper grid paper?
No, it's just regular paper.
Not just regular paper. Okay. You don't have any special, like, concentric circle paper that you use at all?
No,
No? Okay.
just paper.
Right on. It's difficult for me to ask questions, actually, now, because I'm mesmerized because I'm looking at his screen while he plays, and let me tell you, it's...
Well, it's something big. If anyone gets dizzy, sorry about that.
Yeah. But there's also additional themes that are going on in this game. Like, underneath, I mean, you've basically got this male character, and you have another female character who appears later in the game, am I correct?
Yep.
And there's some kind of narrative hinted at.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Well, so when I first started off, I asked my roommate to like write a story for it, and he ended up like writing poetry, and it didn't really fit with the game, so I took it out.
Okay.
I'm actually staying with him in Austin because he lives here now. So that's been nice.
Was he in the audience?
No, he's gone. He's at school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But so this is interesting. So it was a game that actually had a poem attached to it
Yeah.
initially,
Yeah.
and then you didn't like it,
Yeah.
so you got rid of the poem.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So
Now it's a game that's like was built around a poem that no longer has the poem.
Yeah, so like kind of like hints of the narrative kind of peek through. So it used to be like a kind of a story of like love lost. So like you first start off alone, then you see the other character alone, and then eventually you control both of them at the same time, and then things start getting like more complicated, and then later on they're separated. It's pretty sad.
Does that ever get, or is that spoilers? Well, I guess you're speedrunning the whole game,
yeah.
so this is all a spoiler.
Well, it's like yeah.
And this music, how did you come about it?
So my friend Jack Fay, I just knew him in college, and he was like, "I can do music for your game." I was like, "Okay, you can do it." And it's actually like really good music. His brother Jim Fay is actually like a sound designer, or not a sound designer. He works at a studio, and so like he was able to add a lot of like production value to the soundtrack. This is a boss fight.
I see.
Yes. So you hit him on the face, and he dies.
That's
And then
oof.
yeah, yeah. Sorry. If you have epilepsy, sorry.
It's like you're supposed to tell everyone about that before.
Yeah. So this is part 2. The mechanic in this world is the circles in the center stop moving. Since before they were like revolving around.
Yeah.
So you have to navigate around each all the obstacles to get through.
Are there any specific influences you took in making this game?
Yeah, like mostly from Terry Kavanagh games, like Super Hexagon and VDV.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people make comparisons.
What's your high score with Super Hexagon?
I got to the hardest, and then I stopped. So I couldn't
But
beat
then
it.
you stopped. Okay.
It's too hard.
So you never got to the point at which, in that game, everything stops moving.
What? Does that happen?
Yeah, and then it gets really hard.
Oh.
And I was just reminded of that from this mechanic you're showing us right now. So how long would you say it's going to take you to speedrun this? Full
My best
45-minute
was
block?
My best was like 45 minutes, so.
Oh, okay. So
But now I'm messing up.
we're in it for
Oh,
the
no.
long run right now.
But I can stop early if you run out of time.
Well, I mean, it depends how well you do.
Yeah, I guess so. Oh no.
I would like to invite questions from the audience as well, since I'm occasionally running out of things to say as I get mesmerized by Kenny's ability to move through this game really quickly.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at this game.
I can't actually see the audience, so you're gonna have to like yell out your questions.
I think they're just digging the speed run. Actually, it's a super beautiful game.
Cool.
Yeah, I wish there was. I wish I could like be a better commentator on it. Just be like, oh, he jumped in the thing.
So these guys
He
chase
jumped over
you-
those guys
These guys
and
chase you when you're on the ground.
whoa, yeah,
Yeah. Thanks for that.
yeah.
These guys chase you when you're in the air.
And everything in the level actually remains on screen until you reach the little Bazumba warp.
Yeah, the
land.
Zumba thing.
Yeah, that thing.
I don't know. It's not a word.
Sure.
Can you tell us enough about the poem to kind of explain some of the like sprite, like some of the imagery in it? Because you got sort of these like demonic and.
Well, so I mean, the imagery came before the poem. I think.
Oh, okay, so he
So-
saw this and was like, "Here's a poem." And you're like, "Oh, thanks."
Yeah. So yeah, when I first started off, they were faces with legs, and then I added horns to them, so they're demons with legs. And that's
Or Sonic the Hedgehog's with legs.
Why are
Yeah.
they all so sad?
Because so like one of the challenges of like making a game with like such a limited color palette was that the enemies were all the same color. So I think that like the best way, at least the way that I thought of to differentiate them was through emotions, because like people can really distinguish like different faces and emotions from each other. So that's why I made them different sad stuff and happy stuff and angry stuff. Yeah, these are all like in order. Probably. I don't think I've seen anyone else speedrun it.
I'm gonna pump the game audio just a little bit.
Yeah, do that. Okay. 2.8.
Is there any particular part of this game you would say is the hardest for you to speedrun that you always
You'll
messed up
see.
on?
You'll see.
I'll
Like
see.
the entire like second half of the game is like really tough
Oh, okay.
if I get there.
Yeah, I guess you do have a timer right there, and we can just cut you off at 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're speed running this in 45 minutes, how long would you say it would take me to finish it?
I think the fastest I saw someone else beat it was like 3 hours.
Okay.
So it's a long time.
But knowing me as a person.
You as a person?
Yeah, like how long would it take me?
Probably 3 hours. Maybe
Oh,
4
okay.
hours. I don't know.
Yeah,
Are you
maybe
good at- are
maybe
you
4,
good at-
maybe 5.
Are you good at video games?
I'm okay at video games. Some games.
Okay. Oh yeah, so this is another boss fight. Another crying guy. He's sad. Here we go.
I think I would be sad too if that was
Alright, so this is
cosmos
where
was contained in.
this is
Oh,
where
wow.
you control 2 players. So right now it's like pretty symmetrical, but eventually there'll be some switches.
So is this the second half of the game, or are you?
This is like the midway. Like, so there are 5 parts, and I'm in the 3rd part right now.
Okay.
So right now, in this level, you have to like each person has to enter at a separate location. And when one person's on the inside and the other person is not, you can't jump. You can only do the diving thing.
They don't even get to use the same bazumba or whatever that is.
Bazumba.
Warp.
Oh. Any other questions?
Do I have any other questions?
Yes.
Feeling confident, eh?
That's all right.
Let me see if I can Let me see if I can throw out a toughie while you're trying to make your way through a difficult portion of the game. What was the most difficult part of developing the game, would you say? You ever run into like serious blocks design-wise, or was it all pretty smooth sailing?
It was fine.
And so you made the game in Game Maker, correct?
Yes.
Did you also make all the art in Game Maker?
I used this Adobe program called Fireworks,
That's
which is kind of like Photoshop, but like way more easier and basic.
You know, I heard about Fireworks a long time ago, but it was owned by Macromedia back then.
Yeah.
Before they got
so
bought by Adobe.
yeah, the reason I use that because the interface is very similar to Flash, and Flash is like where I started making games when I was in high school.
Oh, cool. That is an interesting thread to go down as I continue to try to interrupt your flawless run. So you started making games in high school with
Yep.
Flash.
Yep.
Were you mostly using like vector art Flash program, or were you doing ActionScript 3.0, Flixel maybe? I don't know.
I was using like the Adobe Flash.
Okay. Were you publishing any of those games? Are any of those games available for me to play right now?
I think they're all on Newgrounds.
Okay. Could you describe your first game that you ever made in exquisite detail for me?
It was a platformer.
Okay.
That's all I got.
That's not quite exquisite, that detail.
Boy, I'm really regretting now when we had Terry Cavanaugh up here doing speedrunning Super Hexagon that I didn't just like ask him questions about high school. That would've-
You can speedrun Super Hexagon?
Well, you can play very well in Super
You
Hexagon.
can just beat it.
I mean, you can, just get really good scores. Yeah. I mean, so you made a platformer in high school. And
Platformer. You jump on
jumped.
platforms.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh no.
Did any of the platforms move?
There's some moving platforms in there.
Were any of them spiky?
Yeah, there are definitely some spikes in there.
Could you land on them?
Yeah.
And be safe?
Yep.
Oh, wow, that is...
Pretty advanced stuff.
That is actually really, really breaking the mold. What was your... So you jump on platforms, some of them have spikes, and this is in high school.
Yep. Listen up.
Oh, it seems your high school memories are starting to haunt you right now, so I've done a good job.
We have a question from Twitch, which is, what was your Newgrounds account name?
Mr-Sun, MR-Sun. Yeah. It's good times in Newgrounds.
Do you have any favorite game that you played on Newgrounds that you didn't make?
There are a bunch. I don't remember them though. It's a long time ago.
At this point I'm looking at it, it just looks like an elaborate dance to me. So it's kind of like watching ballet to a certain extent, in that it looks really smooth and amazing, and I know I could never do that.
You could if you practiced.
If I practiced, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know if how many of your current players have completed the game?
I think according to Steam, it's been like 3%, 4%. Decent amount.
I guess, yeah. In hardcore terms, that's a decent amount of players to complete it.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess. Looks cool.
I don't even have to ask you questions on this level.
This is tough.
Maybe I should just start asking you how many state capitals you can name.
0.
I mean, do you know the state capital of Massachusetts?
No.
Well, it turns out it's actually Boston.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's weird because state capitals are usually like in some random city. It's not like a city you've heard of.
Cool.
Yeah. You know what the state capital of Maryland is?
No.
I've actually forgotten too. I don't know why I asked that question. It's wherever the naval base is. Can anyone in the audience tell me what the state capital of Maryland is? It was Annapolis. That was it. Okay, got it.
He's on the bus. Happy.
Now, you were formerly of New York, but now you are of California.
Yep.
That's,
Oh,
how are you feeling that transition?
that's alright. I don't really know anyone there.
Do you know the state capital of California?
Sacramento.
Oh, wow.
Is it?
That sounds right to me.
Cool.
Yeah. Is this the final boss?
This is the third boss.
Oh, this is the, but not final.
There were 5.
There are 5. Okay.
Well, there are like 4 bosses and like another.
I mean, this is the first boss that seems to really enjoy his job.
Yeah.
He's really into it.
Not anymore.
Well, except for now.
So right now, a new mechanic is introduced where you also have to match the same color, like black or white, as the pie wedge.
That looks exceedingly difficult.
That's fine. It's not that bad.
It's not that bad? Okay. Well, then let me grill you on some more capitals.
Okay.
What's the state capital of Minnesota? I think this should be easy.
I think I know it, but if I'm wrong, I don't know.
If you're wrong, I think you have to get off the stage. No.
Oh, no.
There's no
so
penalty.
let's talk about the game. So,
Okay.
so now they're the enemies that like hide based on their outline. So if they're on a certain side, like if they're in the same color as their outline, they disappear.
And this is World 4, correct?
Yep.
So we're not even at the max.
Oh yeah, there's one more level after this.
We haven't
one more.
we haven't turned the amp all the way up.
Yep.
Okay.
And if you notice, one of the people is chasing the other. It's a little touch I put in there.
Oh, like reaching his arm out?
Yeah.
Or her arm out? And
His?
His? It's just one of them.
Yeah.
Is that the poem come to
That's the
life
poem.
in the animations?
Yeah.
It's- Jenny, do you have any questions for Kenny that will help him lose?
No, it just looks so amazing.
Well, thanks.
Keep complimenting
It's not a-
him. I think that'll cause him to lose.
It's not a it's not a question though.
Yeah.
You have to.
This looks like quite a fix.
Yeah, you just gotta wait, and you're fine.
Aside from you, who is the best player of this game at the moment, alive?
I don't know.
I thought you were going to say Gabe, but...
Gabe?
Yeah.
Oh, he hasn't even finished the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Gabe's another student
yeah.
from NYU. He's cool.
Yeah, he's currently developing an ape game.
Yeah, it's called Ape Out.
Ape Out. So you've received some good fan mail about this game, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
With some good use of verbs
Yep. You're right.
and nouns. You want to tell us about any of that?
No.
No? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you know about it? Do you want to tell us about it?
I just remember one day you opened an email where someone, I don't know if they were quite complaining, but they were talking about how the game was smelling their brain. Is
Yeah,
that
yeah. They used the word smelling.
Smelling, yeah.
I think he meant melting, but he said smelling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's okay. At this point, it stops becoming a speedrun. And I'm just trying to beat the game.
Just trying to survive.
Trying to survive.
I wanted to give a shout out to Jack and Jim. Also, people are asking where they could get the soundtrack. It's jackandjim.bandcamp.com. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buy the soundtrack.
Yeah,
Really
go buy
good.
the soundtrack. And it comes with the deluxe edition of the game too, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
soundtrack with that. So that's at circainfinity.com.
Yeah. CircaInfinityGame.com. Someone took
Yeah,
Circa
that's
Infinity.
circainfinitygame.com.
Yeah.
What's at circainfinity.com?
I don't know. It's just.
Can
I
someone
think
look
it's-
that up right
I
now?
think it's like a park domain. Really. Yeah.
There was also a question about who did the boss scream voice.
I
Finish
think. I think he found Jack found like a stock scream and pitched it down. But so fun fact, the writer made like the crying and the laughing sounds, which you can't hear anymore because I beat them.
Is your voice featured anywhere in the game?
No.
I feel like one of the recurring themes of this fantastic arcade is the trick to sound design is just to take something and pitch it down. Almost
Yeah.
like every game is like, yeah, just pitch everything down.
That's about right.
Seem to have a little bit of a stop and go rhythm here, where sometimes you wait for a bit and then you just speed through like 3 circles at once. Is that
Sure.
just, I'm just making conversation.
Yeah, I guess that's true. It wasn't really like a design decision I made. It just kind of happened. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, let's see how far you can get.
Okay.
This will be a challenge.
Oh yeah, so I hard coded all the levels. It's probably a bad idea.
Like as in
This is another
some
boss,
sort
by the
of
way.
text format that you created yourself?
No, it's like code.
Oh, I see.
So this is the boss. There are two of them. But you only can look at one side and you'll be fine. Oh wait. Oh, I shouldn't have done that.
Well, supposedly.
It's not the colors.
Whoa, wait a minute, hold on.
Yep.
Let's take a step back,
They're the colors.
Kenny.
Okay. Very good. Okay.
That's quite the spoiler.
Yeah, that's fine. I put it in the trailer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you gotta paint yourself with these like yin yang things, and you gotta match the same color and same outline to get into the wedge.
I noticed there's a no skull symbol down over there. Is that
Yeah, that means you haven't died this level.
it means you haven't died. It doesn't mean that skulls aren't allowed.
Yeah, no skulls allowed either.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And now skulls are allowed.
Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, okay. Whoa.
Oh yeah, there's two colors, orange and blue.
When you were thinking about how to increase the difficulty of this game or amp it up further than it was already, were there other options you were considering? Like, did you think, what if there was a third character? Anything ridiculous like that just fell onto the cutting room floor?
Might have, but I don't remember if I did. Yeah.
So there was nothing you threw out at all in the design of this game. It all went in.
Maybe? I don't know.
Oh, okay.
You're asking me.
All right. What's the state capital of Texas?
Yeah, I know. It's awesome. I actually just visited the capital, so jokes on you.
The jokes.
What? What?
Oh, I just asked you what it was. I didn't ask if you visited it.
Okay.
fair enough. I noticed that some of your characters appear to be doing a ducking maneuver at some point.
So, when you try to go into the pie slice and there's nothing there, instead you just duck.
I noticed you use that to avoid a little color blob. Is that true?
Yeah, you can do that.
Serves multiple purposes.
Yep, that's a thing. All of it was like that. It would be cool if I did this and I added it.
So there was no point during development where you thought, 3 months in the future, I'm going to add color. You just one day decided color time.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
Is there any additional way I could add pressure to this tense
We're
moment?
almost at the 45-minute mark, so...
Well, I think at the 45-minute mark, maybe we'll have the audience vote to see if they want you to continue or not.
But, okay.
But, I don't know.
But you guys gotta go too.
Based on your performance so far, how much do you estimate that it'll take you to complete the game?
Probably like 15 minutes.
Yeah?
Yeah, so it might be too long.
I don't know.
But pretty much the rest of the game is, at least visually, it's the same like color scheme. Nothing really crazy gets added.
Is there going to be like a mind-blowing Super Hexagon 2001 freak out at the end that we all super want to see?
Oh, you want to see the ending? Wait. You want to see?
Are you just going to show us?
Well, I
I
meant
can show you
like,
the ending.
can you get to it? I didn't. I didn't mean
well,
like.
so in like the
skip to it.
speedrun mode, it doesn't show the ending.
Oh.
So
So, essentially, you've been wasting our time.
Well,
We all wanted that ending.
Well, do you want to see it?
What does the audience want?
Should we reveal the ending? Do we mind being spoiled?
It's not.
I would like to see
It's not like a story spoiler. Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm hearing spoil it. I'm also hearing don't spoil it, but
Oh no. I'm gonna spoil it.
okay, spoil it. Go ahead.
Okay. It's like the end sequence. Let's go. It's like it's like kind of disguised as a boss fight, but it's more like an ending sequence where you sit your former partner.
Is this like the shattering relationship?
Yeah.
That's really dark.
Yeah. Anyway, here's the thing that happens. There are two circles, one on the left and one on the right, and they're spinning. Now there's some squares.
Wait, hold on a second. This game was called Circa Infinity.
Yeah, the squares look cool though.
And it does still have square pixels.
Yes, pixels. Pixels are squares. That's why I put squares in
Pixels
there.
aren't perfect squares, though.
Yeah, aren't they?
No, I don't think they are.
Oh. You sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh. Some more circles.
Whoa.
And that's orange and blue. If you have epilepsy, you should probably look away.
Actually, I haven't seen this part, so
Oh, yeah.
kind of.
It's pretty much just the same thing, but just to fill out the song that Jack was made. It's rainbows. That's it. You want to go on to Beglitched?
That's pretty cool, Kenny. Where can I buy this game?
Steam. It's a game called Circa Infinity. My name's Kenny Sun. Yeah, it's on Steam.
Awesome.
Buy it.
If you want to. You don't have to buy it, but
Yeah.
Kenny, now you can ask them questions about high school and state capitals while
I'm so
they
excited.
try and talk about their game.
are you gonna play through it?
We're not really going to play through it.
Oh.
We're kind
They're
of
going
more.
to speed run it.
We're
Yeah,
going
it's
to
just
talk
speedrunning.
a little bit about it. Hey, wait, am I in your special?
Yeah,
class?
it's everyone in the incubator.
Oh yeah, where am I?
It's randomized.
Oh wait.
Here it is.
Oh hey, there we are.
It's on the screen though.
That's great.
Anyway.
I love being thanked. Oh, thank you, Kenny. That was Circa Infinity. That was the first part of the Circa Infinity and Beglitched block. So now we're going to switch it up, and I'm no longer panel moderator. Now I guess. Are you panel moderator?
No, I'm panel monitor.
Yeah, Kenny. is.
Okay, I guess Kenny is now panel moderator. So I'm going to bring up Beglitched and tell you a little bit about that game. I'm initially going to talk about that mostly myself because the tale of Beglitched is two-parted because it was initially a game that I was working on by myself and later brought Jenny onto the team, and now she is one of the major components, designers, people involved with the project. So, just get some sound here. Hold on a second. You know you have to fill an hour and a half when you have 2 keynote projects. All right. So, let me tell you about Beglitched. But first, let's talk about Cyberpunk. Excuse me. Let's talk about Cyberpunk. Yeah. What do you think of when you think of Cyberpunk? Maybe you think of Neuromancer, William Gibson's 1984 masterpiece of future noir that managed to invent the genre. Or maybe you think of Snow Crash, Neil Stephenson's imagined hyper-capitalist virtual reality future. Maybe you think of the unrepentant silliness of Hackers the movie, or the existential loop-de-loops of Blade Runner. Cyberpunk conjures up images of seedy megacorporations, powerful AIs seeking their own identities, dark electronic cities, rogue hackers vaulting through an imagined space of danger and rebellion. Let's be frank, all of this stuff is very serious, and dark, and grimy, and kind of gross. For all that William Gibson predicted the future, some might say invented it, he neglected one very important aspect of humanity, which is our propensity for wonder and playfulness. But how about the reality of cyberpunk? Let's say you got a hold of a modern hacker's computer. Probably looks and feels pretty strange. They're probably running Linux. Maybe they've done something weird and the control key has been swapped with the caps lock key. Maybe they've remapped the entire keyboard to Dvorak instead of the more familiar QWERTY layout. Maybe there's no GUI at all, and instead you're greeted with the cold unfamiliarity of a Unix terminal. Interacting with this machine is like interacting with something both familiar and alien. It is like finding a dusty old tome in the used bookstore, knowing that it's a wizard's book of spells, but being unable to do anything but repeat a few obvious magic phrases. When you're a beginner programmer, it often feels like this. You may not be able to understand why or how a piece of code works, but you know that if you invoke it ritualistically in certain places, something, maybe something magical, will occur. So our vision of cyberpunk is of bleak, dark dystopias, but it doesn't have to be. Cyberpunk is something that can be cute, playful, and charming. There is an incredible pleasure to programming, debugging, and the fundamental mystery of our own creations. Which brings me to my point. We got a game here. You can go play it in the arcade. It's called Beglitched. Beglitched is a game about the playful, magical side of computers. It's about interacting with a machine that is both familiar and alien. Is that running? Yeah, it's running. Awesome. It's about finding the computer of a master hacker and inheriting her duties and uncertainties. It's about using opaque clues to deduce the answer to a mystery, all while you don't fully comprehend the tools you use. It's about the inherent silliness of modern computers and how nobody really knows what they're actually doing. It's about a cyberpunk that isn't grimy. And it's about occupying a position of power that you didn't earn and can never fully comprehend. Ultimately, Beglitched is a game about insecurity in our computers and ourselves. And that's the intro, so I'm going to leave Keynote now and actually play the game, show it to you. So let's get that started. Alright. Got it? Yeah, okay, cool. I can't... Oh, great. You know what, I should probably start mirroring the display again, so I'm actually able to see what's going on. Yeah. Sounds good for me.
So what were the origins of this game?
I will get to that in a second, but a big
Tell me
piece
now.
Oh, tell you now, alright. So am I running the game? Is it running? Is it somewhere? Hold on. Where is this? Beglitched. Please run. Hold on. I think I need to actually start playing the game before I can start answering your questions. No, you're not going to let me? Okay. I think I'm screwing up something about how I launch programs. Let's launch that. That's very odd. Okay. Where did it go? I think it's stuck somewhere in some unknown place. Let me just quit it and try to get it back. There we go. Okay, we found it. Here we go. There we go. Beautiful. Is that being scaled? Do you know?
I think it's fine.
Okay, yeah, sure, fine. Okay.
So what are the origins of this game?
So the origins of this game are that I'm a programmer in a past life. I mostly did programming. And something that I found very pleasurable about programming was the act of debugging, which is weird because most people hate that. Do you hate that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, there we go. See? Debugging is usually not particularly fun, but I discovered that under certain circumstances it could be incredible. This feeling of you really understand that the system that you're working in, you're able to probe it whenever you want for clues about the solution to a problem, and you're able to narrow down your space of information to discover the answer to a solution. It really feels like being a detective, like almost like Sherlock Holmes probably would feel if you were a computer programmer.
Cool.
Yeah, so I might get to this in a moment, but I experimented with several different mechanics when it came to effectively trying to take the joys of debugging, which is usually something people hate, and make it into something that people might love. But here's the title screen of the game. The idea is that you've discovered the laptop of this mysterious hacker named the Glitch Witch. And this is not your laptop. It doesn't belong to you. So when you try to log in and enter the password, you get it wrong. And the whole system starts shutting down and going into kind of a guest mode. And you're presented with this desktop of a variety of different things. This is my save game, so a lot of stuff is actually unlocked that you normally wouldn't find unlocked. But there's initially only this README available that basically gives you some info about this laptop that you've discovered, which is that it's owned by this master hacker. It's a computer witch. And she promises to tell you some secrets of hers if you complete some tasks for her. Part of this is, though, you need to actually pretend to be her and take her place in the networks, which means that you get a lot of hackers coming after you. Okay. So we're not actually going to go to the tutorial right now. I'm just going to show you some basics of the movement of the game. So this is a simple network. This is kind of like the secondary tutorial after the initial one that just lets you face off against some basic enemies and fight a basic boss. Yeah, basic boss. So this here is the network view. You're this little cat avatar, and you're able to move through the network, just like this. And you notice here that all the computers have little symbols on them. It is very mysterious. A lot of our goals with this game is to basically make the computer feel both familiar and alien, make it something that you feel like you have to uncover the secrets of. So, in a certain sense, we have an issue with our tutorial where no one knows what they're supposed to do, but in another sense, we have this great feature of the game where you don't know what you're supposed to do and then you discover it, and it's like uncovering a wonderful mystery. But the basic idea here is that this is Minesweeper-esque symbols where what they're actually telling you is they're telling you what is in the neighboring computers. So you see these E's here. They're actually saying one of my neighbors has an exit in it. So there's only one exit per screen. So see if anybody in the audience can guess where the exit actually is. I heard something. Yell it out. Bottom left. Yeah, exactly. That's where the exit is. But I also want to show you the combat of the game, so I'm going to go over here and fight one of these enemy hackers, who's an elephant. Right, so here we go. We've now entered our hacker battle mode, which is where we have to deal with enemies who are hidden somewhere on our battle grid. So we have basically a match 3 grid that should be familiar to anyone who plays games like Candy Crush or Bejeweled. So I can just go ahead and match stuff, gain some resources. But it goes beyond that a little bit because occasionally some of these tiles you can actually click for information. So if I click this computer tile, it tells me how far away the enemy is who's hidden on this grid. So the enemy is 3 spaces away, which is visualized by these little animated guys over here. So the enemy is somewhere in there, so we need a little bit more information to figure out where the enemy is. Let's turn on one of these compasses. So this compass gives us a bit more information about that. So another thing we can do is we can swap tiles to try to get additional information. So now we know it's somewhere down here, somewhere close to here. I don't know, can anyone tell me where the enemy might be hidden? That one, that's very descriptive. The pink bomby thing, exactly. So, yes, I think it's probably a good bet that the enemy is located in this space. And now that we've discovered the enemy, we're going to need to take it out. And the best way to do that is using bomb sectors, which are available right here. And luckily, the enemy happens to be sitting on one. So you just click on that. And you just disconnected that left clicker. So those are essentially the basics of the game, and this is just really, really the very beginning of everything. You eventually fight some enemies who do more complex behaviors, such as these enemies here who are thieves. So they steal certain sectors from your board. So this enemy steals all your compasses, so instead of using the compass and the computer to find him, we instead have to just use the computer. So he's somewhere really close to this one. Let's see. Oh, hey. We've narrowed it down to 2 possible locations. And now we've narrowed it down to 1 possible location. And we can go ahead and take him out. So another aspect of this game that becomes really important, I'm leaving this network because I want to show you something a little more advanced, is that your deck, essentially, the deck where your tiles are in the match 3 grid, is actually persistent across battles. And that means that you can prepare it in advance for difficult fights. So in this particular dungeon, you are going to fight against, well, in this particular dungeon, you've got effectively an escort mission where you need to protect these cat photos right here. So if the cat photos get destroyed, it's game over. So, you know, you've got to basically maintain their position and keep them relatively safe. So we've figured out where this enemy is located. Let's go ahead and take him out. But this introduces cool new dynamics where, say I actually get to the exit, which I wish I knew where it was. It's somewhere down here. It could be down here. Let's take out this duck. By the way, this duck moves. So this duck is right up here. We need some bombs. Oh, but he's moving. Got him. I'm speedrunning this a bit, so feel free to ask me about state capitals.
Well, so who did the art on the game?
That's a very good question, Kenny. I believe the answer is Jenny.
So how did you come up with the art style, Jenny?
I'm probably going to talk about that a little later.
Oh.
But basically, I iterated on it a lot. My primary inspiration was Tumblr. I have like this secret Tumblr where I reblog a lot of cute and pastel things, and I feel like there aren't many games that embrace that aesthetic. So I wanted to, put that in the game.
Yes, Frank Lance of the NYU Game Center has referred to this game as cyberpunk, and he's been really happy about that pun, and he brings it up all the time. So an interesting aspect now of this dungeon, because this is a dungeon where you have to protect tiles, is that an enemy like this one, who upgrades your bombs so that they have a bigger blast radius, is actually super dangerous. So he goes through and he changes all of your small bombs into big bombs. He's like, I'm glad to help you out, because you're another cat, and I upgraded all your bombs. You're welcome. And, it's not particularly helpful, because the moment I blow up a cat, whoops, that is game over for me. So now that I've shown you a little bit of the gameplay of the game, I'm going to go over the history of it a bit, and we're going to bring Jenny into the story, who, exactly, has more things to say, for sure. So let me just exit out of here. So I mentioned before that I actually had quite a few attempts at this debugging mechanic. My first attempt was to make a procedural detective game, which ended up being only command line, and the basic idea of it was it generates a city for you, it generates all these citizens, and they have schedules, and they go off onto various places, and then, I'm just going to skip the intro, hold on, there we go. Okay, so it generates a city with random names and streets and all these kinds of things and people, and you are a detective, and you can say, I want a case. So it waits for a crime to happen. And so a crime happens, and it chooses a random victim and a random perpetrator and a random time, and it chooses fingerprints, which are represented as, I guess, hex IDs here. And then it's like, it tells you, gives you various clues as starting points, and then you have to figure out which citizen is the perpetrator and accuse them of the heinous deed. And this actually feels a lot like programming, because it ends up being you talk to citizens, you get where they were on the night of the 20th or whatever, and you get these schedules, and it's all command line text. And if any of you are thinking that doesn't sound very fun, you're correct. This is pretty boring. I tried to make debugging fun, and in fact, I just made debugging. That was this prototype. So I had this idea back in probably 2012, 2013. That was when I made this one, and it was a flop. It was a failure. I couldn't make it fun. So I went back to the drawing board. I kept thinking about how debugging could end up in the game as a mechanic, or in a game as a mechanic that was interesting and fun. And it wasn't until later along the line that I was also doing a Ludum Dare, just like Kenny's. The theme was Beneath the Surface. This was...
When was this?
Ooh, shoot. This was a school Ludum Dare. I was in school.
Are you not in school anymore?
No, not anymore. No, but I mean, it wasn't like during vacation or anything. Funny story about this Ludum Dare, actually. The front door of my apartment broke, so that I couldn't open it from the inside. So I was locked inside my apartment for the duration of 48 hours.
That's perfect.
Yes. Here's my recommendation for anyone who's going to do a game jam is break the front door of your apartment so that you can't leave.
Do you have a back door?
No.
Oh. How'd you fix it?
Actually, after I finished the Ludum Dare, I took my like Dunkin' Donuts card, and I was able to card the entrance open.
Wow.
I did that for a week until the super fixed it. Anyways, so the theme was beneath the surface, and I made this game called Deep Web. The idea of this was that it was a cyberpunk game that happens beneath the surface of the normal web. You know, so it tells you a little bit about the deep web here at the beginning. And the basic idea here is this was super Minesweeper inspired. So again, it's like a procedural detective game where you have one criminal and you are the detective who, if you think this looks like a pixel perfect reproduction of the 868 hack avatar, you're correct. I did that by accident. And you move around a network and try to discover where the criminal is and then disconnect them from the network. It's very basic. And you get these emails from this shady mega corporation. I was still stuck at this point on this idea of a dark and grimy green cyberpunk. So you get a certain amount of money and you have to find your criminal.
This looks familiar.
Yeah, it looks a little familiar, right? So I'm currently next to the criminal somewhere. He's in one of these nodes. So I'm just going to go ahead and just blow things up. Hey, I got it right. It was a good job, me. And you unlock more powers as you go. So this was the beginnings of Beglitched, was essentially this game, which is it's got a little bit of the map traversal, and it's got a little bit of the mechanics of your enemy is hidden, and you need to find them without revealing them, and then blow them up. But as you can see here, this is kind of the actual map traversal from Beglitched, combined with the battle system from Beglitched, and sort of a weird way. So those were some of the origins as well. Additionally, around the same time, I was also working on a bunch of prototypes at the time, and I was really into this idea of computer interfaces becoming pieces of the game. So I made this game called System Error. And the basic idea of this is that it is a roguelike, and you just want to get to the bottom and get your amulet of whatever and, do it. But the moment you start the game, oh no, you're immediately greeted with this error message. It tells you that there's a legal operation. You just have to, if you say okay, well, game crashed. Now, the funny thing about this is that obviously that's not the end of the game. That's actually kind of the entire mechanic of the game. But you would be surprised at the amount of people who they get this and then never figure out what to do next. Which is, in fact, that just because this guy has intruded upon your game space doesn't mean you can't still walk. So you can just go past the system error and move on to the next level. So here it is again, but this time it looks like it's kind of really in the way. So instead what you're able to do is push this down. Well, that looks familiar. Let's get rid of that. All right. Let's keep on going. And here we can light bombs on fire that push it out of the way. Here you see some of the chain reaction bomb explosions that ended up in Beglitched. There's some narrative in the background here. It's a little poetic.
Oh, poems.
Yeah, poems. Hey, I'm going to talk about poems some more, actually, now that you bring it up. So, yes, I do want to quit this time. I could have actually just clicked OK on the system error and then quit that way, but it was around this time that I was working on what was not yet called Beglitched. I was working on this game. I think I called it Future Sleuth. And it was very dark and grimy and green and had mega corporations and electronic cities and sinister hackers, and it just didn't feel right. And it was around this point that I realized that I probably needed to put some art in the game that was not mine, because you just had a nice dose of my pixel art in those last two examples right there. So the obvious person to go to was Jenny, Jiao Hsia, who's right over here. And that's because we had actually worked together on a game last year that was this game, Stellar Smooch. that some of you might have seen before. It was at the student IGF. This actually, I wrote a poem for this game and left it in, unlike Kenny. And the basic idea of this game is that you are two probes, one sent from Earth and one sent from an alien world, two deep space probes who have been floating through space for a very long period of time with no sign of life or anything. And they're anthropomorphized, so they have feelings. And they're very sad, but then they see in the distance the glimmer of another probe, and the goal is to give them one fleeting moment of contact before they fade away into the darkness of the eternal universe forever. So, it basically has a poem like this, and you can... Basically, the whole point of the game is to release them from their orbits and make them smooch. And I bring up this game in particular because this is the first ever game that Jenny and I worked on together. And one of the major things that Jenny brought to the project is that initially this game took itself way too seriously. The title was not Stellar Smooch, it was Dents in Metal Are Just Memories of an Embrace. And it was...
It's not a very good title.
Yeah, it's long.
I'm glad you changed it.
It's hard to remember. And none of the planets had faces on them, which was super unfortunate. And there were not enough hearts, not enough particles, all of that. And Jenny kept telling me, hey, we should put faces on the planets. We should make them cuter.
Yeah, and you didn't want to listen.
And I didn't want to do it because, but I eventually listened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I eventually acquiesced, and we put faces on the planets, and now it's a way better game. So we added a dose of cuteness to something that took itself a little bit way too seriously, and that's entirely due to Jenny's input into the game, that it ended up being successful. Although she didn't come up with the title Stellar Smooch. That was Diego Garcia, if any of you guys know him. Radstronomical. He suggested jokingly at one point, hey, you should name this game Stellar Smooch. And I said, haha, good joke. And then, like 3 days later, I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, we should. And we did. So that was how Jenny and I met, and, well, not quite met.
So how'd you guys meet?
Oh.
Well, actually, we were in a class together at NYU, and I was a grad student, and Jenny was an undergrad, and she got accidentally sorted into the grad student recitation for the class, and decided to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how we knew each other. So it was a hand of fate, basically. Yep. So yeah, that was Stellar Smooch. That was proof that both I could work super well with Jenny as an artist, and that design-wise, she could turn my super self-serious and boring and annoying designs into something cute and charming and amazing. And that's why, when it came time to improve what was currently known as Future Sleuth, I knew exactly who to go to. So let's bring it over to Jenny. I'm going to actually pull up the presentation again because she has stuff she wants to show you, which means I have to go ahead and not mirror these displays anymore. It's probably I'm going to lose a display somewhere. Okay. Keynote. Wrong keynote. Right keynote. Yeah. Okay. What's the shortcut to full screen this? Other than just going over here and hitting play?
That's fine.
Is it there? Wait, hold on.
That's there.
Okay. Jenny, bring it away. Take it away.
Yeah, so this is what the game looked like originally.
It looks great, huh? Yeah.
Dark, serious, grimy. But as I was saying, this is like a screenshot of my Tumblr. And, I was just really drawn to, like, this whimsical pastel color palette. And here's some more. Here's some, like, darker stuff. And so I just wanted to have the game embrace that. So this was actually the first iteration, and it doesn't look super great compared to what we have currently. But I guess it's interesting that, like, you have something in your mind, and the aesthetic is super clear in your mind and you know exactly what you want, but then when you execute it, it doesn't look quite the way you want it to. So we just went through a lot of iteration after iteration of, trying to get the style right. And at this point, we kind of had a good style. Like most of the game looked like that.
This is the art style we submitted to Fantastic Arcade, actually.
Yeah, but we had a lot of trouble with onboarding people. The art was thematically cute and it captured the right sense of what we wanted for the game, but it just wasn't really clear enough visually in terms of its design. So I guess here's just a breakdown of what we did or what I did to make the game more parsable. So as you can see to your left, there is a network and
there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, and it's just really ambiguous and unclear, but I basically condensed these 4 states into 3 very distinctive and clear ones. And for the battle grid, we also had trouble getting people to both click on things and swap them. So most people who are familiar with match 3s tend to just match things, and that's not the point of our game. So we really had to, reevaluate what needed to be conveyed in the visual design. So what I did here is I designed the ones that could be dragged and clicked on as buttons. So as you can see in the GIF, you can press on them and they change the state. And so that's where our current version has come into play. Oh no, I don't think it's playing.
It's not playing.
Whatever.
Click.
Yeah.
Now click again. There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's the art process that we went through, and these are just only some of the screenshots of the iterations we did, but we did a lot. Yeah, and then I guess.
Yeah. So actually, I want Kenny to ask Jenny a question. So Kenny, ask Jenny about the fact that Beglitched is not her only project at the moment. And
Jenny,
she's actually...
do you have any other projects that you're working on right now?
Yes. I do.
Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about what I'm currently doing. And as you know, I am going to be graduating in the spring, and I have to create a capstone project. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So it's called Consume Me, and it's an autobiographical game about my experiences with dieting in high school. So these are just some journal entries that I ripped out, 5 years ago. And I was pretty obsessive with this, and I wrote down everything I ate and added everything together and made sure I stayed below a certain number. Here are some other examples. Sometimes it got really extreme, so I would, go on some really restrictive diet and have 200 and then 400 and then 600 calories and cycle that over and over again. So I guess the reason why I wanted to make this a game was at one point I wrote down rules for myself. And I think that's a really interesting thing about games, how they're essentially an experience created from a set of rules, right? And at the same time in real life, I was making these rules up by myself. So I can read you a little bit. So I'd write record everything you eat, never more than 1,000 calories a day, at least 30 minutes of exercise a day. So yeah, I guess that's kind of the starting point for Consume Me. I just wanted to make a game based off these rules. So right now it's in really early development, but I have a design doc that I mocked up, and basically the structure is you go through a day, you weigh yourself in the morning, you have 3 meals. At each meal, you want to make sure you stay below a certain limit. As you progress through the game, it becomes more, you feel more compelled to be more precise with how much you eat. So yeah, and then I'm just going to warn you here. I did some mock-ups for other assets I want to include in the game. So this is just a warning for everyone. But when I was in this phase of my life, I'd go on the internet and just look at all these photos, and they were just motivation for me, and it's like this really twisted side to Tumblr and to a lot of the internet that I don't know if people really know about that, but these are just things I saw, and I wanted to recreate them in, a style of my own.
Yeah, these are actually not the original images, correct? These are things that you've created.
Right. Yeah, and then finally, this is,
No, yeah.
Oh, yeah, so currently my game is not working, but I do have a gameplay video of just a scene that I've been prototyping. And, it looks pretty playful, and all the food looks like toy models, but essentially you can drag things onto a plate. And that's really what I have for Consume Me as of now, but yeah. So
I think at this point we were thinking we would have a ton of time left, but I don't think we do. So if people want to ask questions or kick us out, free to do that.
Yeah, we're about 15 minutes over, but I would love if anybody's got any questions for any of the folks up here about any of these great games. All right. Oh, we got one in the back, GP.
We did a global game jam game together about flirting by texting emoji at each other.
it's also match 3, and it's cooperative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 3 games so far together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so that one's secret, so you can't. Yeah, but you could follow my other Tumblr, which is just qdork.com.
You could also go to beglitched.net,
Yeah.
and that is also a Tumblr.
In disguise.
In disguise.
All right, everybody, please give a warm round of applause for Jenny, Kenny, and Alec. Coming up next, Samantha Cook's going to drag some Canadian devs up here, I think, and talk about